Welcome to Creepin' It Real. I am Judah. This past Monday, Jake and I sat on that very couch behind me, and we streamed the horror comedy known as Highway to Hell. Let's check out this trailer. I will be pausing, I will be talking, and you know the drill.
Join us on a dazzling...
First note, I am very hot in these headphones, but we're just going to work with it. A lot of these Volkswagen Beetles are being driven by their owners, which makes sense. There was some kind of competition going on about trying to have the most gathered Volkswagen Beetles, and they took advantage of this while this was occurring. They did not break the record for most Volkswagen Beetles gathered at one time, but everybody had a good time. They joined in on this movie. They did this. Of course, you have this fantastic painted background that makes them look like they're going into this tunnel of hell. While we were watching it, I told Jake that I had been through this tunnel, and he was like, "Really? That's cool." And I was like, "No, that's a painting, you stupid man." Anyway, also, I was really hoping there was going to be a surprise showing of Herbie the Love Bug in here, just like a cameo. I'm not going to spoil it for you, though this whole trailer is going to be filled with spoilers. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I'm disappointed. So you may know based off that whether or not Herbie showed up.
Cinematic adventure down the highway to hell. A winding route that stretches from here to eternity.
I kind of like this voiceover guy. I don't recognize him at all, but I kind of like it. This is a side story that has nothing to do with this movie, but driving down this road has some train tracks on it. And you know how most well, not all, but a lot of train tracks, there's kind of a hump that it goes up over. So I'm driving and coming in the opposite direction. I see this car just flying. And they come to that train tracks, and I swear to all that is good and true, with just a slight bit of exaggeration, that this car that you're seeing right now is exactly what occurred from this car coming the opposite direction of me. I couldn't believe I was looking underneath it as I was going over the tracks. This car on the opposite side, when it passed me, I was looking underneath it. I swear. But also over exaggerating here. And I was like, dang, I can't believe those people didn't slow down at all. And then as the car lands, boom, boom, I look over and I'm like, that's Sue, my stepmom. To this day, she swears that did not happen. But I promise you, on my father's grave, who I love and miss dearly, this is a highly exaggerated but true story. Mark my words.
Kansas anymore. Discover the war.
Okay, apparently, carved in this man's face are the initials of two of the special effects artists. I read that it was on his chin, but I don't know. Anyway, there you go. And his mouth never opens at all throughout this movie. Just a weird fact I wanted to point out in case that would deter you from watching this movie. Just know that this cop's mouth never opens.
Energetic, inventive, and friendly inhabitants of hell.
This is Christy Swanson right here, the original Buffy. Not her.
Rock and roll.
Share with them their traditional crafts.
This was actually filmed and completed, I think, in '89, and it was held off until '91 or '92. It says up here '91. You guys see that up there? It says '91, but I swear that I saw conflicting information, maybe on Wiki. It doesn't matter. But the humor in this movie was so 90s. Some of it reminded me heavily of that movie Freaked that I thought was dog water. I mean, the practical effects were amazing, and it was fun to see the practical effects. But the movie in general was just trash, and it was a waste of my time. But some of the humor in this movie reminded me heavily of Freaked, but I enjoyed this movie substantially more, like leaps and bounds enjoyed it.
Delicious local cuisine.
Vegetarian bitch!
Yeah, there's his dad.
Paging Saddam Hussein.
Bastard!
Anyway, that back there, Christy Swanson, the original
Marvelous.
the original Buffy.
The unusual flora and fauna. Delight in the people's daily pursuits.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
This character here is played by Michael Reed Mackay. Good job, Michael. You pulled off those saggy boobies quite well. We'll get back to that later on.
And
Yep.
see reenactments of rituals that go back hundreds of thousands of years. Once you have crossed,
I thought this was the three-headed dog was decent, but obviously very dated, looked like clay and everything. But this eyes sewn shut thing, it grosses me out. So I'm like, bravo, that was good.
there is no way back.
I'm gonna school your brain!
That was interesting. The plaster of Paris headshot. I don't remember what the rating was on this. I'm assuming R, but I'm not sure why they decided to go with the plaster of Paris versus brain matter. I don't know. Anyway,
Learn how a people steeped in tradition have made their city a thriving modern metropolis.
It's the cop from hell!
And meet the individual.
this scene seemed very wasted. When I watched the trailer and I saw this, I was like, oh, I like this. I'm really into this. But they were all like at a diner, and when the scene actually came, I felt that it was very wasted. It was on the verge of Beetlejuice, but it didn't have the same, I don't know, it just didn't draw me in like Beetlejuice, which was a shame.
Who have made hell the international hotspot it is today.
I am the Prince of Princes.
We've heard that story before, haven't we?
Highway to Hell. An unforgettable journey from Sovereign Pictures.
Now we'll have some fun.
There you have it. I watched that trailer and I was like, "What? I'd never seen this movie." Me and Jake were trying to decide what movie to watch, and I was like, "Dude, check out this trailer." And he came back and he was like, "Oh yeah, let's do it." So both of us got these vibes. We were like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be a fun ride, and we're both going to enjoy it." And I did enjoy it, like I said, more than Freaked, because it kind of had some, not as absurd and not as obnoxious, but it definitely had those, like, yeah, that's 90s humor. But again, it was originally filmed in like 89 and then released in early 90s. So to say it had 90s humor, I understand, but 89, we're getting really close to where, the transition is occurring. So some of that 90s humor, it just came across so dated. Like when they would occur, it was like, wow, that is so 90s. It's unbelievable. But on a whole, I enjoyed it just for the goofiness that it is. Definitely more, when it says comedy horror, it's definitely more towards the comedy action. And when you say horror, definitely think more towards Beetlejuice. Okay. It was very goofy. Would I recommend it? Only for like I'm getting together with some friends and we want to watch a really goofy movie. That's basically the only time I'm going to recommend this. I'm not going to say, hey, this is a really good movie that you need to check out. You're going to love it. No. Does it take itself seriously? No. And that's a plus for it. Okay. Overall, I'm probably going to give this a 6 out of a 10. nothing really stood out to me. There was definitely some references in there that were kind of chuckly. Some people, I'm assuming, may not get it. When they go to Satan's like lair, pronounce that for me. Lair. There we go. No, I just said lair. When they went to the devil's headquarters, we'll just say that, there was an apple that had a bite taken out of it that was like in a glass case. I kind of chuckled. Jake was like, I don't get it. And I was like, that's the apple, dude. That's like, it's the apple. Adam and Eve, it's the apple, bro. And he's like, oh. So to me, it made me chuckle a little bit. And I thought that was kind of funny that he had like, this is it. This is it. This is what started it all. That one little event where Adam and Eve told God to go F himself and that they wanted to be in charge of everything themselves. I found that a little funny. Side note, I'm just jumping into this because right now I looked over to my other monitor and I saw Highway to Hell, which made this jump into my mind. They tried to get the AC/DC song, but they couldn't, simply because of the budget. Now, what is the budget? Let me look that up for you just quickly, okay? I didn't have that tabbed. My apologies. $7.5 million, and it only grossed, ouch, this is painful, $26,055. That's a shame. That's a shame. I mentioned that this stars Kristy Swanson, who is the original Buffy. Now, that makes me want to bring this up to you guys. Now, I can't speak to this intelligently, but I just want to ask you guys, who did it better? Kristy or Sarah? Kristy or Sarah? Now, I know there's a lot of fans out there that think Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show, was one of the greatest achievements ever known to man. And what's the guy's name? Joss Whedon, who did that? I did just last year finally watch this movie with Kristy Swanson in it. I find her, not going to lie, I find her face very attractive. I'm not really into blondes, but I like her face and I like her eyebrows. And when I watched the movie, I was like, this movie is lame. I'm not really into it. I was not a fan of the TV show, couldn't care less about it. In fact, and I know if I get heat for this, I understand, and that's fine. I have always felt that Sarah Michelle Gellar is a goofy-looking person. She's 100% more attractive than I will ever be or ever have been. But something about her, I have always been like, she is so goofy looking. I do not find her attractive. And whenever movies were announced that she was in, I always felt the movie was ruined because she was in it. That's just my personal opinion, and I know a lot of you out there will disagree with me. You think she's the hottest thing since the sun, and you think the Buffy Vampire TV series is the greatest thing ever. I get that. You can have that. That's fine. But if you're going to ask me who did it better, I'm going here with Kristy Swanson. Even though I didn't like the movie, I just like the way she looks. That's just how it's going to go. Now that we're on the topic of who did it better, I got to bring up my boy, Michael Reed Mackey. Oops. So my question to you is, who did it better? Michael Reed Mackey or Demi Moore? Who did it better? Yeah. This time I think I'm going to go with Demi. Demi, you're pulling off the saggy boobs quite well. Good for you. You deserve that Golden Globe that you got for this. But Michael, you did a fantastic job as well. So I don't know. That's a tough call, but I'm still going to go with Demi. Give me your thoughts in the comments below. Was it Demi or Michael? Who pulled it off better? And as far as Buffy goes, are we going with Kristy Swanson or Sarah Michelle Gellar. I know that these are going to, I know it's going to be a hot topic. I know that was a hot take, saying that Christy Swanson is better looking and a better Buffy than Sarah. But I'm not going to lie. I really don't have a horse in that race because I'm not a Buffy fan. It's quite likely that Sarah pulled off a better Buffy. It's just she's goofy looking to me. In fact, she's staring at me right now. You can't see it, so I'm going to switch it. Thank you, Christy. I will accept your loving gazes as I finish off this. Overall, not the greatest late 80s, early 90s movie that I've seen, but it had some stuff in it that was entertaining, that I'm glad that I have seen it now. But there was also, like I said, the 90s humor just didn't land at spots. It hits different when you're 12. Let's just say that. So if you're 12, it probably isn't going to work for Z's right now. What the Sigma? That's what they're going to say. Did I just show how old I am? I think every day that I do these reviews, I'm just showing how incredibly old I am. And it was difficult for me. For the longest time, I wouldn't let people know how old I was. And I think I'm just at that place. I also wouldn't let people know that I listen to pop music, because I have mentioned in the past that I was a concert promoter, ran a venue called Underground Cafe. And we basically had indie and hardcore definitely brought in all the money. But I wasn't a fan of hardcore. There was a few bands that were quite exceptional, and I was like, okay, these guys are decent. But my love was generally towards the indie type stuff. But I would keep hidden from people that I liked pop music. One, because my wife was a snob when it came to music. She was a musician, and she felt like her opinion was the end all to everything. And if your opinion was different from hers, then you obviously were not worth living. And so she made me feel that way. So I kept it secret from her and everybody that came to my shows that I was a big pop fan. I finally got over that, and I was just like, you know what? I like my sugary sweet pop music, and by golly, I'm not going to be ashamed of it anymore. And I'm happier now that I have come to that. And I feel like I've finally come to that place where I'm like, you know what? I'm old. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm working with these guys that are 20 plus years younger than me. And every time that I have to engage in a competition with them, it shows. And I'm like, it's just time to embrace this. Stop trying to act like, you can jump off chairs and not break a hip. Let's just embrace it. You're old. Of course, I'm still going to keep this hat on, because my forehead, that's pretty legit. That's a pretty legit gauge of where my forehead is at right now. Yeah, that's pretty good. So just imagine just flesh here down with long hair, and you got a pretty good idea of what's going on there. Anyway, this was Highway to Hell. Grab a great friend, grab some beers, grab some pizza. Unless, you're an alcoholic, then avoid that at all cost. Or if you're just straight edge, that's right. And watch this movie and let me know in the comments below. Christy Swanson, Sarah Michelle Gellar. We got Michael, what's his name again? Michael Reed Mackey or Demi Moore. Who pulled it off? Who's better? Let me know. I want to hear your comments. Also, if you feel that this a 6 out of 10 is not fair enough for this movie, you feel like I should have given it higher, I'd love to hear your opinions on that. Or if you feel like I'm being way too generous and it should be much lower. If you feel I didn't nitpick enough, I want to hear that too, because I know some of you love it when I'm here nitpicking, and I'm sorry I didn't have any specifics, but if I really tried, I could find them. I'm definitely sure I could find them. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Judah. It's been Creepin' It Real.